She is already battling an aggressive form of brain cancer.
And now a Massachusetts woman isn't just fighting for her life. She's fighting to stay in her home. 5 Investigates' Brittany Johnson tonight has the battle that's playing out on the Cape.
Tucked away in Bourne on Cape Cod, you'll find George and Phyllis Fregon.
George, do you want to pull this?
George now spends most of his time caring for his wife. Phyllis is battling glioblastoma, one of the deadliest and most aggressive forms of brain cancer.
After the second day of the heavy dose of chemo, she couldn't lift her hand.
I mean, can you describe for me what the last few months have been like?
Turmoil. I don't need this hassle.
The hassle he's talking about over this wheelchair ramp. Because of her cancer and aggressive chemotherapy, Phyllis needs a wheelchair to get around. George hired a contractor to install the ramp.
If I didn't have the ramp, I would have to call the rescue squad, which I've had to do already because I took her out and she fell getting in the car.
Now, this Cape couple is facing the possibility of eviction over the ramp, even though it's only temporary. Property manager Phil Austin sent the Fregons this 30-day notice to quit. It's a legal document and a first step in an eviction process. Informing a tenant they have 30 days to leave. In the document, the landlord stated the Fregons, quote, have constructed an unapproved structure on the site in violation of Rule 15D of the rules and regulations of the park at Pocasset.
This guy's trying to evict me because my wife's sick. It's crazy.
Rule 15D states any structural modifications to home or site may only be made with written approval of the owner-operator.
My contract will tell you the first thing I told him, call Phil and clear it with him because I don't want any hassles.
Contractor Patrick Tropiano says he did just that.
And he says, all right, well, just draw a little picture and send it to me. 2 weeks went by, still hadn't heard from him.
And the day Phyllis came home from the hospital,
I called him one more time, and I still got no answer.
the Fregons had Patrick proceed with installing the ramp, even though they didn't get permission.
Why didn't he answer the phone 3 times?
We went to his office to find out.
We're with 5 Investigates. Are you Phil? Are you Philip Austin? Are you trying to evict a woman that's dying of cancer? You don't want to answer that?
Phil didn't want to answer us in person. Via email, his attorney denied George's claims and said, quote, my client will not be providing any comment while this matter remains pending.
Evicting a terminally ill tenant may not only be cruel, one legal expert says using their ramp as a reason may also be illegal.
The last thing a person who is suffering from a terminal illness needs is the stress of court.
Jessica Drew is a senior attorney with Greater Boston Legal Services. While Drew has no involvement in the Fregons case, a vast majority of her work is in housing, and we wanted an outside opinion.
I would argue that it isn't legal, that what he is asking for is a reasonable modification to his home.
Drew says cases like this could violate several federal and state laws.
Our fair housing laws are there to protect individuals in protected classes, but oftentimes those laws get ignored.
The landlord also said the Fregons were in violation for not keeping their yard kept up
He gave me a 10-day to quit with the lawnmowers, and I moved them.
and having too many cars on the property.
I had 3 cars before. He told me I couldn't have 3 cars, and I moved it.
Issues that were raised and addressed last November.
He's throwing them in to make it look better.
Have you even thought about what would happen if you are evicted?
I'm more worried about where we're going here with my wife and getting her well or and getting her squared away. He doesn't need this.
After we interviewed George, he was served with an eviction complaint. It's the next step in the process. There's also another legal fight involving George and other tenants trying to block the sale of the mobile home park to a private company. George and others wonder if the eviction threat is connected, something the property manager's attorneys denied. Brittany Johnson, 5 Investigates.